What you trying to do to my heart? What you trying to do to my heart? You go around telling lies and now you want to compromise. What you trying to do to my heart? You better run, you better hide, you better leave from my side, yeah. What you trying to do to my soul? What you trying to do to my soul? Where everything I had is yours, now I'm closing all the doors. What you trying to do to my soul? You better run, you better hide, you better leave from my side, yeah. I love you, oh, I love you so. Can't you see, don't you know? I can't stand your alibis, telling lies, drive me wild, yeah. I said, what are you trying to do to my head? Say, what you trying to do to my head? Well, now I'm gonna draw that line, 'cause you ain't gonna take my mind. What are you trying to do to my head? You better run, you better hide, you better leave from my side. You better run, you better hide, you better leave from my side. I said, yeah, yeah. I said, go away and leave me alone. I can't stand you no more. No, come on. Yeah. Yeah, come on.
Pat Benatar writes candidly in her memoir about the sexism that she encountered in an all-male industry and the way she found to deal with it. From being told it was unheard of for a female rocker as a front person to fill arenas and sell lots of albums, to having radio program directors make inappropriate comments, such as, if she wants her singles played, she can come sit on their laps.
That's right.
Isn't that lovely? How were you able to not only deal with it, but rise above it and prove them all wrong and be successful at it all?
You know, it was...
That's got to be intimidating for a woman like you, regardless of how much success you have.
It wasn't. I was so angry all the time. I
Yeah.
was just so crazy. I mean, it was absolutely perfect. In retrospect, it was perfect for what we were doing, because it made me so crazy every day that it just made me so much more militant and, you know, ready to just get out there and duke it out, which was exactly what fueled everything in our performances.
It toughened you up.
It did. I mean, I was always a little scrapper anyway, so I didn't go in there and like, oh my God, he said he wanted me to sit on his lap. I can't swear on this show, but you know what I said.
We can beep you.
Okay, I told him to go himself because I was, you know.
She beeped herself.
I did.
She beeped herself.
And they would come in, you can't say that to the program director, and I would say, I just did, you know, because it was just, you know, horrible. It was just horrible.
It must have been horrible seeing this happen to her too. Like, you must have wanted to beat a few of them up yourself.
Well, of course. Because my whole life growing up, I grew up around girls, dogs that are female, and women around me all the time.
What do you mean?
That's what I'm trying to say.
Wait a second.
Let's back
Real
that up.
dogs, or are we talking?
You didn't have to bleep me,
He
though.
meant, no, women and all his dogs were girls
You
too.
notice how I
That's
get in
what he
trouble a lot?
That's right, but she's always right. So
She's always right.
As long as you say
Absolutely.
that.
Trying to help you out here.
Here's what because it goes like this.
Yeah.
I end up defending my sister. People used to make fun of my sister when they go on the bus, and I end up fighting kids all the time. So I was always protecting girls and women all the time. So
Right.
this was like just like a normal part of my life.
Another misconception too is that in the beginning, people, I'm positive I remember this, that a lot of it, you know, because they were playing up this sex symbol thing, which was like so their
Right.
thing and not mine,
Right.
would say that, you know, all these men would come to the concerts, and that was never true. It was always heavily leaning towards women, mostly young girls, because they were like, yes.
I bet. So by the third album, you were finally getting the credit that you deserve for producing the albums. And your fifth album, you have your first #1 hit, Love is a Battlefield. You're making millions of dollars for the record label. Everything's going great. But right after you come off of your tour, Wide Awake in Dreamland, you guys were ready to call it quits. Is that right? What happened?
Because they made it so hard. It was just, it was always...
It was nonstop, too, so we just needed a break.
We needed a break, and they weren't willing to let us just have a break. You know, they really tortured us always.
Well, you had an insane contract with them, didn't you?
We had a contract that didn't stand up in California. You know, it was signed in L.A., but the record company was based in New York, basically. I mean, they had another office in L.A., but it was, you know, for 10 years and 10 records, and that meant a record every 9 months practically. And
or suspension.
That's like giving birth every 9 months.
It was, and it was unheard of.
Besides touring, too.
And if you didn't deliver the record, they would put you on suspension, which meant that you couldn't collect any royalties. So it was always this you know, thumb pressing kind of a situation. And they were just relentless, and they never quit. And we just quit.
You gave up. No, but when did you find out when you could actually be free from the label?
It was right after Wide Awake in Dreamland, and we changed management. And when we brought in new attorneys and everything, they just started looking at first thing they did is go in there and examine all of our contracts. And this was in Los Angeles. And the attorney in Los Angeles knew the law in Los Angeles. And he realized that the contract had been signed in California. And he said, you can't be held to this. It's completely illegal. And we were able to go in. And we were actually going to leave the record company. We were going to leave and just move on. But this is when the record company changed hands, and these two new people came in, and they were actually decent human beings, and we decided to make one more record with them. And we did.
Are you kidding? As upset as you were, and knowing that you could get out, you still stuck around because the people were
completely different people running the label, and they had literally no idea what they were doing, and they didn't want to tell us what to do, and we were like, okay, perfect.
Life all by yourself.